Revelations 22. We are in the last book, the last chapter of the Bible. Revelations 22. And so it was on me to share this morning. And I'm not sure if it's going to be in class. Today is our last study class. And then we'll have fellowship next week. So it should be our last study class. No, we got one more. Oh, well, it's not our last study class. I think we got one more. But we are in the last chapter. So here was the question that I read before it was bedtime last night. What have you learned about God and heaven this week that gives you hope and impacts your life today? And I did answer it, and I wrote it, and I filled it out. But on my mind and my heart, when I woke up this morning, I woke up with my middle man, Javion, on my heart and my mind, and thinking about him. And when I was thinking about him, I was thinking, initially the thought is, I pray that he went to heaven, but I don't know. So while I thought about him, I thought about how he was such a good child in his youth. And I always thought that God gave me a break between my oldest son and my baby boy, as him being my middle son. When he was a good son. He did right in his youth. He was dressed right, like out of all my children, I don't even think I whipped him. And them children could get it, because I was raised by a mother that didn't play them kind of games, and I was a good child. But when I thought about him and how, when, I think he was, 3 or 4, and I was trying to get his clothes together, and he was like, no, I want to pick out what I want to wear. And I was like, because that oldest son of mine let me dress him any kind of way, and he did not. It didn't bother him. So he wanted to do this, to him protecting other girls at school, to him looking out for me, to him, sitting and talk, to him not wanting women to hold him, but myself and my mother, to the little boy that loved football and basketball and any ball he loved, to him that I love sports, and whatever we would put him in, he would thrive in the sport till they requested him to play on a team. To that was short-lived, and then he would be like, I don't want to play any sports, and I'm like, you're gonna play this sport. To, I thought he was an excellent soccer player, but because his big brother did not like sports, it was like, ugh, why could my middle son be the oldest son, to get them in line, to where he and his big brother were best friends, to he looked out for his little brother where his big brother just didn't bother, to he was my child that made A's and B's and did his homework, and I didn't have to get it. He was the best toothbrusher ever, next to my mom, because when I would grow up, my mom would be brushing, she'd be getting her tongue to where she'd almost I'd be like, really? To where he had saw his teeth was a little bit off white, and I say, boy, that boy got it. To where he'd get his clothes together, and he'd make sure his hair was fixed, and to where he took the long showers in the shower. And I'm like, what are you doing in there? And they was like, this is the men type of understanding. To where he got in a middle school, and I was like, go try out for the football team. I don't want to play football. I said, just try. And he did it and he didn't like it. And I was like, man, you don't have to play it again. I just wanted you to have the opportunity to play. To where he did football, soccer, and all his friends were in soccer. So he didn't really want to, but he played. And then I had him to run track. But all those things that his mother was doing, what was missing was his father and his stepfather. So two men in his life, they were missing. And we can go on and say his grandfather, and we can go on and say his uncles. Those are very important for your village. The males in the family, outside of the family, in the community, in the neighborhood, those are important parts of your village. So to where what was on me this morning, also just the walk on how we got to where we got. To where when he went and ran track, and his father wasn't there, and I'm pushing him and I'm going to run with him and come on, let's go run and so you can get improved with this. And I would call his dad and I said, which his dad was down the street, and I said, you know, Javion is going to be running track, come out support. And he was like, oh, I got to work. And I would say, because I would see other fathers there and they were strong and big, I said, James, Javion's father, I said, James would just have loved to have been here among these men cheering on their children. He just didn't know that. Why didn't he know that? Because his mother and father didn't do that for him. And I can't say, I can remember when my mother came to a game or two and my father came to a game or two. I didn't play in high school, but I played in middle school. My high school didn't have sports. I went to a magnet school, different story. So for his father, the thing is, James' mother didn't prioritize her children's activity as something. She was always working. And we're looking at it, it wasn't necessary to always be working like she was always working. But nevertheless, a mom always working turned into a son that was a father that was always working, and his children wasn't his priority. Put that together and mix that up and get that. So while his children wasn't his priority as far as being active and participating in what they were doing, get that? Just like when I went to the track meet and I saw all those fathers, my husband, his stepfather wasn't there either. The father wasn't there either. And the uncles didn't live where we live. But, so, stepfathers and grandfathers same. So where that was missing, that wasn't nurtured. Why wasn't it nurtured? Because Javion's father didn't see that, and that wasn't something that was important to him. What was important to him, because his father wasn't there, wasn't near, lived in Florida, but his father didn't get to come to his games and his football things and his this and his that and his Army graduation and dedication and this, or his mom. That wasn't a priority for them, which in turn wasn't a priority for him. But what his priority, Javion's father, James, his priority was, as long as my children are around me. But being around the children is not enough. Being around the children, even if it was just for a sporting event, was not enough. We have to spend time and talk, and not just train up a child, but to listen, to see what their conversation is like, to see where their head and mind space is, to see where their heart is. that's not the direction I'm supposed to be going, but I'm giving you a little background into who he was becoming while his mother pushed for excellence, possibly on her own. The men that were missing was very vital and important. Although always getting them on the weekends and almost every weekend till I had to say, give me at least one weekend. And he was thinking just them being around me in my presence. And this very different. The presence, but the meaning, the meat and potato, your presence, just knowing that you're there was not enough. Just seeing you was not enough. There was conversations missing. There was you coming into the child's territory, domain. Like he would let them just be, because that's how James was. He was just being at home, and whatever he did, and whatever he didn't, and whatever trouble he got into, and whatever this and whatever that. That as his mother was married but a single mother because his stepfather didn't participate in his life. It was like he was raised by a single mother, but wasn't. But it was like he was. And what she inbred him was work, in which he did. And he became an excellent worker. But as far as being in the children's life, that's just like, and I go to his mother, when James' sister would get in trouble for this and that in college, it was the stepdad and her brother that went to 10 on her. The mother was missing because work was more important. Okay, when you go through it that direction. But let me stay here because I'm kind of tracing away. As I looked at my son growing, and I just thought, out of all, because my oldest son is like my big brother, and my baby boy is like my brother next to me by my mom. We got the same mother and dad, but dad had 10 children, mother has 3. Trying to put it in perspective. So I was like, I keep raising my siblings that I grew up with, and I was trying to see who Javion was alike. And I was talking to James's dad, and I was like, who is Javion alike? He's doing so good. He's grounded. He keeps his room dressed. He's doing all the right things. And I was like, maybe he's me. That's what I was thinking. Maybe he's me. And so as he grew and he started coming into his own, and that testosterone started seeping into him, and he started changing. And I can remember when he went into high school, and this is the first, really push, pull back. I was like, Javion, go on a swim team. And he was like, I really don't want to. I'm like, try it. It's good. See, for me, Javion, let me segue. Javion, these boys and girls, when we want from our peers, we want justification, we want celebration, we want to be announced, we want to be seen. And he was thinking he needs to hang with this type of person and do this and do that. And what I was wanting him to understand, if you are an athlete, they're going to see you. What you're looking for, they're going to see it. And if because we want the girls and all that, but if you're an athlete, the girls are going to see you. They're going to find you. And I was saying the swim team, and he was like, oh, that was so hard. I don't want to stay. And they had tons of people swimming. And I said, stick with it. Just stick with it. Give it another chance. He went the next time, and he said, oh, Mom, this was much better. And when I tell you half that team quit, and they kept quitting, and I said, just stick with it, stick with it. He stuck with it, and he did really well. He wasn't the fastest, but, that takes work. You're not normally swimming laps and laps. We don't do that at home. And then when he joined, I was like, join the track team. And because his big brother had him to join. When he joined the track team, And he was like, "Oh, I don't think I like it so much." And I said, "Well, just try it out. You always, for me, you always have a child to try, because what you don't know what you like and don't like, because you don't try it. You don't go to it. If it's a conference, if it's this, is that, try it and see. You just never know." And so he he went on the track team for high school. He was taking a Spanish class his freshman year. This is what I didn't realize. So he took that Spanish class, and I was like, and he was 1 or 2 points below. And I said, go to tutoring. If you go to tutoring, you're gonna make it and you're gonna pass and this and that. So he was like, nah, I don't want to. I guess he wanted to tutor, and he didn't. And I wasn't trying to ride him. I'm like, at this age, ninth grade, you should know to go to tutoring to do what you need to do. You have a parent that's willing to get you to tutoring. Let's go. Whereas I, on the other hand, had to walk a long way to do what I needed to do to be successful, but nobody was telling me get good grades or whatever. Not necessarily, like, that's another conversation. So anyway, long story short, he ended up flunking Spanish by 1 or 2. I said, go to summer school. Go to summer school. I said, but if you would have passed this summer school, this taking something your summer, you wouldn't have had to do this. You wouldn't have had to worry about it. So we was getting into it about summer school. I don't think I should have to go to summer school. Then here go my mother. He shouldn't have to go to summer school. He should have that break. You be quiet, because we're not going to go there. Anyway, he needs to go to summer school. How dare you tell him that he doesn't need to go to summer school? What are you talking about? What are you smoking over there? And we was going back and forth, go to summer school. And I can't remember what his dad said, because I had the last say, you're going to go to summer school. And on top of that, because you could have passed Spanish 1 or 2 points, you could have passed Spanish. Even if you wouldn't talk to the teacher and showed her you was trying, you could have passed Spanish. And I made him get his way there and get his way back. And he had to ride his bike, and it wasn't. And I was trying to tell him, I said, this is the best way to go while you're riding your bike. Oh, I know. Oh, you know? Well, then let me leave that where it is. Did not know that was the beginning to the end, this right here. And so in summer school, I don't even think he passed or something. I don't know. But here we go with sports. So I'm telling him to go try sports still. And I guess this is 10th grade or something. Anyway, nevertheless, yeah, it must have been. He was like, Mom, I didn't know if you flunked, you didn't have to play sports. I heard him, but I didn't realize what he was setting himself up for. So after that, he stopped doing his work. And the teacher had emailed me, and we was not seeing eye to eye. So I was like, oh no, son, you're going to have to go to your dad's house. You're not getting your work done, and you don't have to work, and you don't have to do this, and you have food, and you're not starving, and you have over your head, and you got clothes, and you can't say, well, I look like trash, I don't want to go to school because they're going to talk about me. That was none of your story. None of your story. Whereas that was my brother's story. That's not your story. I made sure that that's not your story. And then you going to act like that. And then it's little stuff. Why am I telling you to clean the kitchen? Clean the kitchen. Why am I telling you this? Now from that dress right, dress child, he was off. And why are you spending 30 minutes in this shower, running this good water? Get out. That's too much water. Why are you doing that? And continuously having to say the same thing. And if you can't get your grades together, I'm putting you out of your room, because why would you have your own room to yourself? Big old beautiful room. And you can't do right. You can't do your portion that you're supposed to do at home in this family. So we didn't see eye to eye. Long story short, I'm like, you're going to have to go to your dad's house. Here go another son, my oldest son, because of his grades. Go to your dad. Here's his turn. Go to your dad's, because I don't know what I might do to make you do right. And that may mean laying hands on you. You're not going to listen? Didn't I tell you to clean this kitchen? You didn't, and you going to, now don't do certain things. Not with me. You can't do certain things with me. What does that look like? And then this, I don't know where stepdad was. He was there, but And then dad, he would be like, oh, he okay. Oh, he can come live with me. The first time I told my son, I said, who do you want to live with, me or your dad? And he was like, I want to live with you. And then what was so crazy, his dad, I heard him talking to his dad, and he was like, Javion, why didn't you say you wanted to live with me? And he said, I don't want to leave all my friends. But what I was discombobulated about is, James, why are you saying, why didn't you say live with me? Why didn't you say do right? Why didn't you say get your grades together? Why didn't you, what is my word? Why didn't you get him in order? That's not my word. I can't think. Why didn't you chastise him? That's what I'm thinking. Why didn't you chastise him? Why didn't you get him in order instead of you saying, why you didn't say come live with me? So let's fast forward it. I had enough. And I was like, you are going to your dad's the first of the year. Well, the first of the year couldn't come fast enough. And he was just doing things like he was poking the bear. And I don't know what I'm capable of, but that child there, because he's not used to me whipping him or putting hands on him or doing nothing to him, that child there, I could like instinctively say, oh, he would try to fight me back. So let me just remove you from this house. Whereas his big brother, I'm just sorry to say, if I punched him in his chest, he would just be like, ooh. He would be like, that, but he would get in order. Whereas that one wasn't used to me doing nothing like that, and I couldn't see him being in order, because his thing was, y'all not gonna do me like y'all did my big brother. That was his mind. So I was like, you go on over to your dad's, had him to go to his dad, and from there, when I tell you his everything plummeted, and his dad didn't put no rings on him. Because his dad was like, you have them too structured. You have them too dress right dress. That's what he want to say, him and my mom. Yeah, Janika is she too this and she too that. Getting your good grades, cleaning up your room, doing this, that's too much. So what, you want me to let you trash the house? Anyway, so grades plummeted. His teacher had emailed me and was like, Javion, he's not bad, but he's not doing any work. When I say open your book and this, he doesn't do anything. So right now he has a 20, like a 20, like for his grade, like a overall 20. And I would just call his dad, because I was like, this son, I'm not finna run like I did with my last one, because this one is out of order now. And his dad would let him do absolutely what he wanted. When he would tell him, and I found this out for a fact, he would say, Dad, I want to go to tutoring. He said, okay, go to tutoring. He was lying. He wasn't going to tutoring. With a 20, what can you possibly do? And then James said, he said to him, he said, son, I knew you wasn't going to tutoring. Why you just didn't tell me the truth? You don't have to lie. You want to hang out at school? Hang out at school. That was his perspective. I'm trying to give you perspectives. That was his perspective. Just hang out at school. Do what you want to do. That's fine. And he making 20s and grades like that, like in every class now. Every class, right? And so his dad is like, and so he tell his dad, Dad, I want to go to the movies. So he going to the movies to meet some chick. And his dad was like, okay, what time y'all? He's just excited to take him to go do it. Like, he's a virgin with me. Now he just living his best life. He popping all kind of everybody in his everything, right? You got me? So his dad taking him to the movies with these failing grades and all. And I'm calling him like, why are you doing all of that? Why you let him just run amok? And so the counselor had told me at that time, he said, you give him time to do however he's going to do. He's sorting out what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. And yes, his dad is going to let him do whatever he wants. We understand that. We know that. You let him come to you or come back to you or talk to you and all that stuff. Well, I was waiting and he wasn't doing nothing, and I was able to see his Instagram and all that. Check y'all children's Instagram and communications and this and that, and it was some mess on there, and he started getting in trouble at school, and I mean, my golden child was just like bloop, and I was like, no, you ain't like me. take my namesake and whatever back off of him. But long story short, I didn't know how much of this is I was going to go into, and I'm not going to go through all of that, not on this. It really went left. It went left to, this is what I can tell you, to where one day, like give me 6 months later, after not talking to him because of the counselor, but as a mother, I was like, hey, Javion, I wanted to come get you for church. He used to usher at the church, mind you. I wanted to, he was the first one that even did something. Because I saw another child that I knew that was ushering, and I was like, Javion, look, he's ushering, you can usher. And so, I was like, I want to take you to church. And he was like, oh, I don't believe in God. And I was like, what? I had never heard that before. And so I called. I never heard that before from him. Now his other oldest brother, that's grown, because Javion is in high school and they're 6 years apart. So the other brother, grown. I can't remember when I heard him say that. He said he didn't believe in Jesus was resurrected. He said it was fantasized. You got me? So when I hear Javion say he doesn't believe in God, is what he said. And I was like, child, I can't even start. I think this was maybe 2018, 2019. It was before the pandemic. And I was like, what? And I called his dad and I said, I need to meet with you. And I go meet with his dad. And I said, James, first of all, do you believe in God? Because the James that I knew, the James that I had married at that time, believed in God. I went to church with him, this and that and whatever. But you never know what you go through. Because I do remember when we went to Korea, PCS to Korea one time, you know how I felt like the new soldiers, they would Muslim you, turn you into a Muslim. And I can remember when he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about becoming a Muslim. And I was like, what? I'm not wrapping my head up and I'm eating pork, and my children gonna eat pork. But anyway, I didn't know. I don't know how deep that conversation went. I just like, I don't know nothing about no Muslim, and that's not what I'm trying to do. Even though I wasn't even reading the Bible, I just knew Jesus. Anyway, he was like, I said, you believe in God? Something open your hand up like that and something close it up. I looked at him in pure awe, and what? What are you saying? I don't even know. I don't even remember how deep I went, but I was taken back is what I can tell you. And then I was like, your son is after your own heart, just like King David. Your son is after your own heart, just like King David. And you are not spending time with him, acknowledging him the way he needs to be acknowledged, and on and on and on. So that brought me back to what have you learned about God and heaven this week that gives you hope and impacts your life today. So I always think about my son. He's no longer on this earth. But what was his last minute, second, last time? Did he repent? Did he scream out to Jesus or God? I don't know. What I love is that when people find the Lord before they die, it is an exciting time. It's never too late. Their sins have been forgiven, and they will have more time with the Lord. It is an amazing time and loving opportunity to know that people you know will go to the same place. The New Jerusalem, the new heaven, where the tree of life is not forbidden. It's for everybody, the water of life. So when I think of that, I always have a candle lit for my son in my heart. That maybe, just maybe, before he died, he talked to the Lord and he asked for forgiveness. So this was on my heart, and that question was deep, and that was my answer to the question. And the song Lead Me On, Lead Me On. And I always say, yeah, y'all might not enjoy my song, but it's to my Lord, and he enjoys it. Jesus, you're the potter, and I'm the clay. I'm not perfect. Don't always get it right. And what does he say? But my foolish sight, lead me on. Please lead me on. Lead me on. Lead me on. Please, Jesus, lead me on. And on and on and on.